Hey everyone, I'm Jack Toma, and this is DeAndre Patrick. I'm with CLEGeek, as his channel is known. And we have had a pretty good year of comic movies. 2017 has been pretty much hit after hit after hit. One okay-ish movie known as Justice League, but we're ignoring that. But now we look to the future of 2018 and the huge roster of superhero movies we have before us.
Yes, this is going to be an exciting video talking about our expectations for these movies. And just for the record, we were going back and forth on whether we should count Incredibles 2 or not, but I decided that
We
it doesn't
talked
count.
about it twice, and then we agreed it's not going back
Yeah,
and forth.
it's not. Well, that's going back and forth. That's you said something, and I said something. That's back and forth.
Whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will be going in order of release throughout the year. So that means that the first film we shall be going over is Black Panther, which is coming out in February the 16th. Now, this is going to be kind of a milestone because we have not gotten really a black superhero movie since like the Blade movies came out.
Yeah.
Which usually I always forget about them, mostly because I haven't actually seen them. I hear they're really good, except they like the first couple are good, but I don't know, I just never saw them. But and this is the first like Marvel movie in the MCU that has a black superheroes, and pretty much an all black cast except for Andy Serkis and Martin Freeman.
Yeah. So obviously, I'm excited for it because I'm black, and this is such a strategic release date because it comes out the day after Martin Luther King Day. So this is going to be pretty awesome. Hopefully, this to me is the biggest risk of the year for Marvel.
I don't think so. I think it's gonna get like a bunch of like pretty much everyone, like all the I don't want to all the black people.
All the black people are going to come to this movie, but here's the thing: if it sucks, then we're going to complain that we got the worst movie. So that's what I mean. I'm just being honest.
I don't think it's gonna suck. The director Ryan Coogler, if I got his name right, he directed. He's from what I hear, he's a really good director. I saw Creed, which I don't think is as good as everyone is saying, but it was still pretty good. So I'm what am I saying? Okay, I have faith that this movie is gonna be good, as long as Marvel lets this director like do what he wants. But for the most part, I think that they're not Warner Brothers, they're not Fox. They let their. I think to the extent that Marvel does is they do kind of like make the directors. So you gotta connect it to the MCU in like all these different ways, which is why Edgar Wright left Ant-Man because he didn't like how he was had to rework his script to connect it more. So other than that, I think for the most part they're allowed to like do what they want as long as it's not going too far. Like the Russo brothers, James Gunn, Taika Waititi, yeah, that's his name. They seem to be like they had their vision for the film and they were able to carry it out. So I'm pretty sure that this director will be able to do a pretty good job introducing this character, who I thought was really well first introduced in Civil War. Like he was one of like the standouts in that because
he's black.
Yeah,
I agree.
Black Panther.
I'm just gonna say I'm excited for this movie clearly, but for me and for a lot of other people who look like me, I would say that this is a very important movie. Mm-hmm. If it's bad, then that's gonna be very.
It's kind of like how Wonder Woman was for women.
Yeah,
like it was the first. We have not gotten, unlike at least for this. There have been good movies like from what I hear, the first two Blades are really good. So you guys have. There was never been any good female superhero movies till Wonder Woman. So
Catwoman was amazing.
Elektra,
I'm just
Supergirl,
horrible.
Freaking best movies ever, man. I watch them every day. I watch them in loop. But I think the trailers look really good. A lot of people are hyped for this. I have like high hopes that this will get good reviews and I'll like it. He'll like it.
I'll like it, hopefully.
Now, we don't know for sure. Any movie can turn out crap, even if it looks like the trailers look really good. So, but I have a good cause to think that this will turn out right. Marvel hasn't had a really bad movie in forever. Like I think they've never had a bad. They
Yeah, I
haven't
don't
seen.
think they've had a
They've
bad
had
movie.
mediocre movies like
Yeah.
Iron Man 2 and Thor: The Dark World, but they've never had a bad movie. And even for mediocre, they haven't had one of those in a while. Because 2016 and 2017 was just hits after hit. Yeah. So I don't think they're gonna break this streak with that. So the next one is the New Mutants, which is going to be produced by Fox in the X-Men universe, and will come out April 13th. Now, I don't really know much about the New Mutants. I'm not really familiar with them as much as like the X-Men or the like Deadpool or something. So this kind of would have already taken a little more convincing for me to want to go see. And the trailer just didn't do anything for me. I'm not a huge horror fan. I can watch. I like horror movies when it's done well and subtle and interesting. But from the trailer, it just looks like any generic jump scare horror movie.
Yeah, I'm not excited for this at all. If we were to rank this, this would probably be at the bottom of my list.
Yeah.
And hopefully that Disney Fox deal goes through, so we'll be able to forget about this when it comes
Well,
out.
for all we know, this will be really good. It just the trailer doesn't do anything for me, and I don't know if I can like how I'll explain to my mom. She doesn't like horror movies. She already didn't care that I went to see Deadpool, because since we're still teenagers, we have to live under the rule of our parents. But
Except for you soon, because you'll be 18.
oh yeah, well not, I'll still have 2 more months before I turn 18. So I'll still be 17 when this comes out. But just nothing really interests me about this. I'm not really familiar with the source material, and the trailer didn't do anything for me.
Yeah. So honestly, this can either be like a surprise, well unforeseen surprise, or it could just be bad.
I don't think I'm gonna see this one. So either it'll be glad I missed that one, or oh man, I wish I had the guts to go see that and not let my parents uh, and just like forget what my parents think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have no interest in seeing this.
Yeah. This might be the comic book movie that breaks my streak of going to the premiere since the Avengers.
Are you gonna wait for like the reviews to come in?
I might.
I have movies like that. Usually, it's never a comic book movie. If the comic book movie comes out, I'm going to go see it. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna see it if it gets good reviews. To be honest, not because I'm just refusing to see something I'm not familiar with. I've seen other superhero movies that I'm not like familiar with the source material as well as others. It's mostly just a bunch of other reasons. So the next one up is Avengers Infinity War, which will be coming out in May of 2018, the 4th. Now, this is something that the MCU has been building up since the first Avengers. I'm not going to say Iron Man. People say, oh, it's been building up since the first Iron Man. I don't even know if they thought they were going to get this far when they made the first Iron Man.
Well, if Iron Man dies, then it will be building up since the first Iron Man.
True. He did there was a line where he said, "I should have died, and I know what I should do with my life." So they have been setting that up unintentionally. But we've had Thanos being built up since the first Avengers as this big threat, and which could leave a lot of disappointment if it doesn't pay off. But if he is as BA as the first trailer has shown, I don't think we're gonna be disappointed. Because you don't need technically just a villain to be sympathetic. A lot of great villains are sympathetic, but there are also a lot of good villains that are just scary and they're to show how powerful they are. Darth Vader, before we learned about his past in just Episode 4. Both of the Terminators from the first two Terminators. The Predator. There's a lot of great villains that are not sympathetic, even though they could always go upon the lore with him and Lady Death to make things more interesting.
If Hela didn't die.
I don't know. She seemed pretty dead when sort of.
Hey, but I'm excited for this movie. Nostalgia is gonna hit hard, especially when I watched the first trailer. That was crazy.
Because we were 12 when this movie when the first
Yeah.
Avengers came out. I did not see them all in theaters. I saw all the first Phase One movies on DVD out of order, and then I saw the Avengers in theaters. So that was probably actually one of the first superhero movies I'd seen in a while. I think the only other movie I'd seen before that was Spider-Man 3
Yeah.
in theaters.
On the contrary with me, I'd seen all these movies in theaters since Iron Man. I was a wee, let's see, I was like 7 or 8 when Iron Man came out. And I was 7 or 8 when Iron Man came out. I remember seeing it in the theaters. I remember like it was yesterday, like the title Iron Man just like bang on the screen. And then, as you said, we were like 12 when the Avengers came out. And I'm thankful that we were old enough to like kind of understand what was going on. Like we weren't like 5-year-olds just watching on screen. So
I remember just all the awesome moments of that first movie and being blown away, especially in the finale. Like technically, usually, of course, when you rewatch a movie a ton, it's a little harder for me to enjoy a movie as much because I'm used to the moments. But I always just think back to that's probably one of my best movie going experiences is seeing the first Avengers.
For me, that definitely was my greatest experience. I was able to, fortunately, see it like on the midnight premiere, so the crowd was packed, and just everybody's reactions to everything was amazing. It was.
I saw it with DeAndre for the first time, but not with opening night. He had already seen it.
Yeah.
But I waited till summer to see it because I didn't want to, because we wanted to go to the cheap movies. Hey, then they have on the week that they have on a weekday, so we waited till summer, which was killing me because I had been the best setup you could give to a movie is having 5 movies setting up all the characters. That's the best, and they're all pretty much all of them are beloved by the fans. That's the best setup you can have for a movie, and that would make a lot of disappointment if it did not have a great payoff. And we got a great payoff. I think they've been building on that ever since. They've not I don't think they've had very many misses. They've just been having tons of hit after hit, only with a couple missteps maybe here and there with just a couple movies. And I can't wait to see this because everyone is in this one.
Yeah, it's gonna be insane.
First I was worried that the Russo brothers might not be able to handle this many characters, but they proved Civil War they can handle a very large cast because that had more characters than anyone else, any of the other movies. Unfortunately, one other worry is this plot is less political than the other ones, so I'm kind of worried that this might be too simplistic of a plot for them, because the other ones were about dealing with the a spy movie, a political movie. This is more just a straight up comic book sci-fi movie. So I'm kind of interested in see how they're gonna make that trying to make that as interesting as their previous.
I feel like they'll do fine mostly just because they've really played with our emotions and stuff, and this movie obviously has a lot of emotion building on it with nostalgia and all the other stuff. So
yeah, the main thing is they cannot have a generic Marvel villain here. Thanos needs to be a great payoff because they built him up too much.
Yeah, at this point, I think it's going to be hard for him to. As long as he's on screen, I feel like it's going to be hard for him to not be good.
Yeah, even though some people just have stuff built up for so much in their heads that nothing is going to satisfy them.
Kind of like Star Wars last.
Every Star Wars movie that's come out recently is been controversial because nothing to these people will please them. Not saying these movies are perfect. All of them have some form of flaw, but there's those Star Wars fans that hate all of them, and I think it's just because their expectations are too high. I'm hoping that won't happen with us, and that we won't think it's going to literally be the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah, it might be.
See, that's kind of thought. If it's not that, we're going to be disappointed. I'm not saying we shouldn't get excited, but we shouldn't think that if we died right after, we would have had a good life.
Well, I mean, if I had the same feeling that I had when I walked out of Winter Soldier and when I walked out of Civil War
and the Avengers.
Well, the Avengers was special. I don't know if anything can be
Oh
like
yeah,
the
and
Avengers.
plus Joss Whedon isn't directing this one.
Yeah, but
The Russo brothers have made the two best Marvel movies, in my opinion. So I'm interested to see, like, if this one will make like a perfect Russo brothers trilogy that we can watch. Okay, next up is Deadpool 2, coming out in June. Now, we saw the first one together because I did not feel comfortable going with either of my parents because I knew how R-rated this was going to be. So I went with him and his dad because I knew if like his dad said, "Oh, this is too bad, we're leaving," I was like, "Oh, yeah, I paid for my ticket, I'm staying," and I could just call my parents to pick me up. But it did a pretty good job. It's definitely a smaller story, but I think that worked for its favor. It's incredibly funny. You get joke after joke, and pretty much all of them usually land. For a low budget movie, the effects are for the most part pretty impressive, especially like Colossus, who
yeah,
is probably one of the best like CGI like characters that we've gotten, and it's like somewhat I don't. People try to give credit to Fox for this one. I don't really choose to because they, for the most part, I think they just didn't care about this movie. And they just gave him an incredibly, for a superhero movie, a very low budget of just like 50 million or something, some of which they cut away, so they had to like change the script. So, and I'm pretty sure they just didn't care and let them do what with the money as they wanted, and they did a great job. So, but I heard people saying after that, oh, this redeems Fan Four Stick for Fox. Fox didn't do crap. They messed with Fan Four Stick a ton. For all we know, it still would have been terrible if the director's version had come out, because you hear about a ton of issues other than that. But Fox still messed with it further and further and further. So Deadpool 2, they deserve no credit for that. They don't deserve any credit for Logan either. They just got the creators who made the movie deserve the credit. All Fox deserves is the being the financiers of the movie. So, but I just think Deadpool, like, they did a great portrayal of him, completely redeeming them, like the crappy portrayal of him in X Men Origins. I'm sorry, that wasn't Deadpool. That was Weapon 11.
yeah. I watched that somewhat recently. It's even worse than I remember.
I just remember it being super boring. I don't remember it being like it's less that it's really bad, which it is, but more that it's just boring.
Had a cool opening scene though. That's about it.
Yeah, yeah. But they're like doing a lot. They're introducing Domino, and introducing Cable, and I think Josh Brolin is like the perfect casting for that, which is weird since he's already playing Thanos. I'm surprised they were able to like carry that out. Like they were able to like Fox and Marvel were able to like agree on that. So what do you think?
I mean, Deadpool, in my opinion, was very, very fun because of its. It was so different, and I think that with this, we're gonna get the same kind of differentness that we had. So I'm excited.
The director of the first one isn't coming back because he left because of creative differences. But I don't think that's automatically a bad sign because the writers from the first one are still writing this one. So I think you can get a different director. A lot of movies like franchises have switched directors and they've been fine. So I don't think that's an obvious sign that this is like going to be a disaster or anything. For all we know, it could be. We haven't seen like a really like official trailer of like the actual like any that much of the footage. So we're just gonna have to see. Hopefully this will be at least just as good as the first one, if not better. I'm just as long as it just keeps me as entertaining as the first one is, because the first one is not only a great comedy, does great action. I still think it like I hope it's not just nonstop comedy, because the one thing that the first one did is balance the emotional, more dramatic moments pretty well, and I hope they don't like lose that in this one. Just say, oh, we need to give nonstop jokes, because I think that's kind of a problem Marvel suffers from like occasionally. It's not like super like drastic that like the Marvel still makes great movies, but that's just like a small thing I have with them is maybe they shouldn't like just focus on the jokes. So I'm hoping this doesn't, because that's the one thing people got away from the first one is how funny it was. So I hope they don't like just try to make it all jokes.
Yeah, but from the little clip we saw before Logan and the trailer that came out recently, I feel like this is promising.
Yes. So, next one.
Next one.
This one is the next MCU movie of the year. This will be Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is coming out July 6th. Now, the first Ant-Man movie isn't great, but it's still very entertaining and fun to watch. Because I remember going out and I enjoyed it, but I didn't take it away as one of the best MCU movies. But then I find my family surprisingly wants to keep coming back to it and watching it again because it's a really entertaining and fun movie.
Yeah, I like it more than most people do. It has the third act, generic kind of thing, but they take kind of that third act, the hero fights the villain and the big fight stuff, but they kind of flip it on its head and make it tiny, and I think it's cool.
They took a great advantage of the whole concept of making things small and big. They went all out with it. I think if a more generic film filmmakers would have just done the bare basics, but they did all this stuff making the ant big and the Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah.
And I really like these characters too. These characters could easily be really generic, stereotypical caricatures.
Yeah, I thought the casting was great too.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing this with the Wasp, Hope getting more of a focus. She's now one of the title characters, so I find that interesting. The Peyton Reed's coming back, and I do think the first Ant-Man movie could have been even better if the Edgar Wright had stuck on.
Yeah,
because he's made a ton of great movies, but overall, I think Peyton Reed did a great job, and I think if this is just as good as the first one, I will be happy. I don't really know anything about this. I know that they're gonna get Janet, the Hank's wife, out of the zone. I think they cast Michelle Pfeiffer as her.
Oh, that's cool.
And I know that that obviously Hope becomes the Wasp, and they're gonna probably join together. But I don't know who the villain is. I don't know what the main plot of the movie is. So
well, that's good.
Which the trailer's probably gonna tell us what that is, though. But I find that interesting. Honestly, I don't need a ton, because the first movie alone is enough to get me to want to go see this. So I don't need a ton. I need, honestly, just a trailer showing some cool stuff would be fine for me. I could go in there not knowing what the plot is, and I'd be fine. So, any of your thoughts?
I like Ant-Man. I like the movie. I like the character. I like the casting. I like the concept. So, another movie is going to be great.
I hope we get more, some flashbacks to...
Oh, yeah, flashbacks would be great.
Because they wouldn't have to worry about, the CGI too much, because, they could just give some, a flashback to, an action scene where he'd be, in the helmet. So they wouldn't have to worry about too much, spending too much money on CGI to de-age Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Even though that technology has been getting, better and better. Because, it looked very crappy in, The Last Stand and X-Men Origins, but I think it's been, getting better and better.
In Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, when they used it in the beginning, that was super convincing. Yeah. I didn't even know until, 5 minutes in. I'm like, well, wait. So it was cool.
So, well, I'm excited for this movie. I wouldn't say, because there's a lot, more, higher movies on the list, Deadpool 2, Infinity War, and so on. This is, kind of just in the middle, but I'm still, pretty excited for this.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
So, moving on.
Venom, which will be coming out October 5th. Now... The one promising thing about this movie is they got Tom Hardy to play Venom.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, somehow, no one's incredibly sure if this is in the MCU, if this is connected to Tom Holland.
It's not.
That makes no sense, having a Spider-Man spin-off movie
in
a universe with no Spider-Man.
Okay, maybe Spider-Man's in it, but they don't, reference him.
Yeah, well, But that's the thing. He can't. Like, is there another Spider-Man in this universe other than Tom
Hope
Holland?
hopefully it's just kind of like
Honestly, it seems Sony's just doing the same greedy stuff they were trying to do with the Amazing Spider-Man franchise before that fella and blew up in their face. Like, even though the difference was that they had like their own Spider-Man universe where they could have Spider-Man show up. Like, so this makes even less sense. Like, how did Eddie Brock become Venom without Spider-Man being involved? Like, how did he get all the spider powers? The symbiote, from what I understood, the symbiote like went on to Peter Parker and got like kind of got some of his powers like when he got, and then went on to Eddie Brock, and that's why he has some of Spider-Man's powers. So how are you going to do that without that? And what's his main motivation? Because from what I took, their main motivation was both the symbiote and Eddie Brock hating Spider-Man.
Yeah, here's the thing. This is probably going to be a similar situation to Catwoman with Halle Berry, where you can't talk about Batman, but Catwoman's
Except
just kind
this
of in it.
has a possibility of being really good. Catwoman had a bunch of, like, for one, this has great casting with just, because, like, you just think of Topher Grace as just like the stupidest choice they could have made. Like, say what you want. I know that, like, he was forced, like, Sam Raimi was forced to put Venom in Spider-Man 3, but he could have cast him better.
Yeah.
Like, Venom is supposed to be, like, this big, like, muscular jock kind of, like, guy, and they cast, like, the skinny dweeb to play him.
Yeah.
So at least Tom Hardy, like, fits a lot with the character. So, and I think, from what I hear, it's going to be R-rated. I think it has potential. It's just the whole concept of having a Venom movie that's somehow not... Just the concept
I'm
confusing.
not as excited for this, surprisingly, because Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, but...
Well, it's not connected to Spider-Man.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I'm not really excited for it, but I'd be open to greatness. But if it's bad, I'm not going to be mad.
I really hope Sony didn't do like a thing where they went with the MCU to help get Spider-Man popular again, and then just take him back to make their own crappy universe. That would seem stupid.
It would be.
But overall, I have to wait till we like see a trailer or something from this, but I think just the idea of a Venom movie does sound cool to me, because Venom's a cool character, and so I'll just have to wait and see. I'll probably still see this though. This isn't like New Mutants, because I know who Venom is.
Right.
Okay, next is X-Men Dark Phoenix, which will be coming out November 2nd. Now, we mixed feelings about this, because the X-Men movies have actually been pretty good, like Days of Future Past, Deadpool, Logan have been fantastic, and this is the main difference between me and DeAndre. I still enjoyed X-Men Apocalypse.
I hated X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, that's the main difference, except when we reviewed it, we seemed to agree on what we liked and didn't like.
Yeah, that's true, but ultimately I just did like it.
But I still enjoyed it, so I'm looking to see what happens next. I'm hoping we get more Days of Future Past than we did X-Men Apocalypse. This is, from what I hear, going to be more sci-fi, like the X-Men are going to go into space.
Okay.
Like, have you read the Dark Phoenix saga?
No.
Okay, well that involves the Phoenix going to space and destroying like a ton of galaxies, and then involves an alien race that puts her on trial.
How are they just going to introduce this?
Well, they already set up the Phoenix and X-Men Apocalypse.
Okay, yeah, but there's no aliens in this universe.
I think they cast... Well, that's something that I'm a little hesitant about.
Yeah, or space or anything.
No, there's no space in the X-Men universe.
No.
Space doesn't exist.
No, I mean, they don't do that.
They have done that in the comics, so it's like something that they can introduce something like that.
Yeah, well, here's my opinion on it. I have nothing else to really say about this movie other than this. Since this Disney Fox deal is most likely going to go through,
this is going to be the last X-Men movie.
This is going to be the last X-Men movie in this universe, and to me, seeing this movie will be like seeing a ghost of something that I know is already dead.
Wow. See, this has the chance of being good. I think you're being way too sensitive. Let's say I agreed with you, and I hated X-Men Apocalypse. I would not think that one movie that was directed by a different director would automatically mean that this is going to be bad. This is the guy who's writing and directing this did Days of Future Past, so I think
Okay, but here's the thing.
Well, he didn't direct he wrote Days of Future Past.
Even if this movie is great, there's not going to be a sequel to it.
True, but this
So
could
it's
be
dead.
I would rather. Wouldn't you think that you would rather have at least an attempt to have a better send off than X-Men
If it's a
Apocalypse?
great send off, then great.
Like, just and for all we know, like worst case scenario, the merger could fall through. The government like says no, you can't have it because it goes against antitrust laws. But still, I think we should still give it like a chance. I don't think we should just completely stamp on it.
Look, I'm not
I
saying
find,
it's not going to be
and
good.
they're gonna finally just focus on the Dark Phoenix. It's not gonna be like Last Stand where they did Dark Phoenix and let me think.
The Cure.
Yeah, the Cure storyline, which so neither of them was properly developed. So I think they're gonna focus on the Dark Phoenix saga and properly develop Jean Grey's like kind of transformation into the Phoenix, and we're still gonna have Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy come back as Magneto and Professor X. So that's already a plus for me because they've always been great as these characters. And honestly,
I agree.
that's something. The one thing that I'm kind of sad that they're gonna be going over to Disney because they were somehow able to cast Professor X and Magneto perfectly twice.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure they're gonna cast these people to like be this like just as good as these people have been, like Stewart and McKellen and McAvoy and Fassbender have been like have both all done amazing. So and the same thing with Wolverine,
Yeah.
as like Hugh Jackman has done it. So I'm not sure how they're gonna handle it. I'm hoping.
What just happened?
I've been talking a lot. My throat is tired.
Okay, continue.
I'm hoping that this is like a good like finishing movie. I hope this isn't like they didn't like. I hope if they had like any setup for another movie, they change it or like try to make this more finite.
Yeah.
So like it's ending.
If it's an ending, then I will forgive Apocalypse.
I don't think they need to. Well, I think they might want to be a little cautious and don't like completely end things forever. Like, and they all lived happily ever after. Just so they're like play it a little more safe. So in case, worst case scenario, this whole merger falls through, they can still continue.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't kill them or anything.
Yeah. Also, it would go against continuity because we saw a lot of them alive and the end of Days of Future Past, but who cares about continuity?
Yeah.
We're the X-Men universe.
All right, next.
What a nice timeline.
All right, next.
My throat's getting tired.
Then I will continue. Sony's Spider-Man movie with Miles Morales.
Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse, the title.
Which I think is kind of like maybe show that they don't have a ton of faith in like just having Miles Morales, so they need to make it a Spider-Verse movie.
Yeah.
But that's still an interesting concept.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I like the Spider-Verse concept. To me, this is interesting. I'm not like a fan of Miles Morales, but I like the idea of the Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go see it, and it's gonna be cool for me. But will I like grow attached to this and want sequels? Most likely not.
The trailer looked really good to me. I thought the animation looked very like cool. It like seemed kind of like a comic book.
Yeah.
So I don't have a ton of feelings about this, but I thought the trailer was cool. I'm probably gonna go see it, unless I get like just horrible reviews.
Oh yeah, same.
Like so, this might be one of those movies that I might just wait for the reviews to go see. And if the reviews are good, I'll go see it because yeah, it's a Spider-Man movie, and it's gonna have like deal with like multiple universes. So there's no reason for me not to like find that exciting. So I just gotta go see how it turns out.
Yeah, I don't have too many opinions on it because honestly, I forgot that it was even happening until the trailer came out.
Yeah, same. I didn't even think about it when I thought, oh, the movie's coming out, Super movie's coming out in 2018. I didn't remember this was coming out. Yeah. Honestly, even when we were planning on making this video, I like thought of it like last minute.
And last but not least,
Aquaman, which will be coming out December of the 21st.
Yes, December of the 21st.
Yes, I was being
fancy,
artistic.
I see, nice. Yeah, Aquaman.
There's a lot of potential with this.
I think Jason Momoa is a good actor for this role. I think for the way that they seem like they want to the direction they want to put him in.
Yeah. I'm not too crazy about the direction though.
Yeah, I mean, I can live with it because I think it could be different.
They need to make Aquaman cool, like seem like super cool. So for fans who like people who made fun of Aquaman, so they don't just like say, "Oh, Aquaman's lame," so they make him look super awesome. Like they make him look awesome, and they make him more like kind of like a surfer dude, kind of. I'm not crazy about that, but I think if they like develop him enough in this and make me like care about him as a person, I I think it could work. And I think the whole introducing the Society of Atlantis is another great way, like to help further like expand this world, because that's something that this movie definitely should have come out before Justice League, because there was like way too much to, like set up for Aquaman that felt really rushed in that movie. Like maybe it feels more like developed in like the imaginary extended version that they're not going to give us with like, because from what I heard there was like a ton of stuff they cut out like with Atlantis. Like Willem Dafoe played like Atlantean scientist. They cut out his role completely.
Oh, wow.
But he's gonna be an Aquaman, but they cut out like his role in Justice League completely. From what I hear, I've never seen any of his movies, but James Wan is a great director from what I hear, even though he's more like of a horror movie director. So I'm interested to see how they're gonna take this. Hopefully, it won't be like New Mutants, where I see the trailer and it just looks like a generic horror movie.
It's a fish horror movie.
But to be fair, when I hear he makes like the type of horror movies that I would like, where they're much more subtle and not like jump scare, jump scare, jump scare.
Yeah.
And when they do a jump scare, it's not as stupid as they usually make them. It's more clever.
Yeah. So with Aquaman, my thoughts on it. First, I'm gonna go see it. But my expectations are not high just because of how the DCEU has been going.
So far, I don't think we've heard of any like problems with this, like no behind the scenes drama that we've heard of. We heard behind the scenes dramas with Suicide Squad and Justice League, and they were a mess. Batman v Superman, I wouldn't say as much because all they really did is make him cut it down shorter, and that's what ultimately I think affected that. I think Zack Snyder pretty much like got his way with that one. Whether you liked it or not, that's up to you. But so we haven't heard anything like go wrong, and from what I hear, James Wan is a good director. So like, I think I'm gonna give this a chance. We could get another Wonder Woman out of it.
Hopefully, let's
not say it's gonna be that good, but it can still be like a really
fun
movie.
I mean, we don't know, but the thing is, they gotta really focus on his character.
I hope
and the mythology.
Hopefully, this will make me like Aquaman. So when go back to watch Justice League, I'll have that set up to help me better with that one.
Oh.
I'll just imagine this came out before Justice League, and that I have all set up. That should have been set up. Warner Brothers, you pieces of trash. The only good movies you make is when you have nothing to do with them. Money. That's pretty much all. We got just like one every. I think there's only like a month like in between. Like there maybe be like a month every now and then in between, but we pretty much get one like pretty consistently throughout the whole year. Like we won't get one in January, March, August, or September. So they will only have like a quarter of the year where there's a month with no comic movies.
Yeah, that's a good statistic there.
So I'm hopeful. I'm hoping we'll get as good of a year as we did this year, because this year was amazing. But I won't hope. But hopefully we can come back here next year when we rank 2018 movies and we can say the same thing. Because if I would love to say again that only one movie was disappointing and that everything else was great,
it's probably gonna be New Mutants.
Yeah, but
New Mutants are gonna suck.
Okay. And hopefully, because I'm not planning on seeing that anyway. So hopefully, it's the one I won't see. No offense, people who like New Mutants, but nothing about that is exciting.
You guys suck. What's wrong with you guys? New Mutants, what?
Hey, that has kidding. A fan base.
Did I hurt their feelings?
You haven't even read the comics. From what I've seen, they look more like colorful and comic bookish, and less horror stereotypical jump scary that the trailer showed.
Yeah, as long as Black Panther and Infinity War are amazing, I will be satisfied. Like, if every other movie sucks, I will at least be satisfied that those two were good.
But I think that we'll get, like, most of these will be good, at least. Like, maybe not as good as we got this year, but I hope, like, at least it'll be more like 60-40.
Yeah.
And we won't, because for the most part, these people, there's not, like, it used to be a lot worse. I think Marvel lets the filmmakers do what they want. I think for the most part, like, Fox is kind of backing off, except with, like, the really big movies. So hopefully that will mean Deadpool 2 will be fine. And so we just gotta wait out and see. So we'll probably be back next year to tell you what we thought of all the movies that we just talked about. So I don't think we have anything else, so goodbye.
Later.